Alumni Focus. I am Alumni Director Rob Stagenborg. Again, happy to have my next guest, good friend, guy we've known a long time. You might know him as Patrico. I know him as Tony Patrico, 2003 grad. Patrico, welcome to CBC Alumni Focus.
Good to see you, Stags. How are you, man?
Doing great, doing great. Just trying to share the good word of CBC as we all do. So, how are things going for you? I know you had a little bit of a health setback. Are you kind of getting back on that? You want to give us an update on that?
Yeah. So it all happened like so fast and so crazy. It was something that I definitely never expected. But I mean, kind of out of nowhere, I found out that I had kidney cancer, and it's you hear cancer and you get pretty scared right away. It's not something that's like, oh, I'm just gonna kind of shake it off and I'll be fine. And it was, I mean, I found out I had it on September 28th, and I was in the operating room on October 7th. So it was like, we got to act, and we got to act now. So it was pretty eye opening, pretty scary. I had a second surgery on December 27th. Actually had a little bit of complication with that. Was back in the hospital after the first of the year. Spent about 9 days in the hospital. And it's one of those things where until you get rushed to the ER, spend a couple days in ICU, then you're in the hospital for 4 days, you're like, where am I? I forgot what my house looked like. I forgot what my dog looked like. It was like, this is crazy. But thanks to the amazing staff that, was taking care of me and my doctor, I'm back at home. I'm back at work now. I'm able to be outside, which is awesome, and finally starting to feel like my old self again, which is great.
I hate to say it, I think Layla was getting a little jealous as much attention as you were getting. You were kind of the new celebrity, and Layla was not the celebrity, but you had a lot of people pulling for you, a lot of people from the radio station, obviously,
Oh
some
yeah.
people, that you deal with, and then certainly your alumni family here at CBC. Talk about just some of the messages you got from folks kind of giving you support.
Well, hearing from all the guys, like I'm the vice president of the CBC Alumni Association. I heard from almost every member of the Alumni Association, which was amazing. I found out while I was in the hospital that the chaplain at CBC actually said mass for me, which was insane. And it's one of those things where even though I haven't been a student at CBC in quite some time, I still felt like I had all of my brothers there with me. I had all the guys that I graduated with, some that I didn't even graduate, that were reaching out to me saying, "Hey man, if there's anything I can do for you, let me know." I had guys that don't even live in the state anymore reaching out and go, "Hey man, I know I can't do a whole lot because I don't live in the state, but if I'm around and you need me, I'm there for you." And I don't think I would get that at a lot of other schools. I know some people that went to some schools that they're like, I couldn't name four people that I went to high school with. And you hand me my yearbook today, I could probably at least name the first name of every single person that I graduated high school with, which is insane.
Tony, and I'm a graduate myself, and I would think
Mhm.
that you might agree with me that when one of us makes it, we all make it. In other
Yeah.
words, like when you make it, you're a public figure, man, we all make it, and you're all part of us, and you're representing us. And you can look through the history of Mike Shannon and Martin Kilcoyne and yourself, and we have a couple guys in the NFL now, and the cycle continues.
Yeah, it's funny when you see somebody that went to CBC, whether it be a professional athlete or whether it be somebody who's known in the media or something. It's one of the first things that I tell people. Martin Kilcoyne shows up on the TV, and I went, "Hey, me and him, we went to the same school. That's my guy. I went to the same school as him." Now, have I ever sat there and had a longer than 10-minute conversation with Martin Kilcoyne? No, but we're both brothers. We both came through the same school. We both graduated from the same school. And I feel like that's a bond and a connection that you don't get other places. And I love the fact that I get to say that. I get to go, I went to school with that guy. That guy is the same guy that I am.
And it's great whether you graduated in 2003, 1985, or 1957. We
Yep.
all take that ownership. We all take that pride. But on the other side of that brotherhood, there's an accountability that that if
Oh,
you
yeah.
screw up, it's not just you're screwing up. You have to face your own group. You have to face all of us, your brothers, and sometimes
Yeah.
that's a tough court.
Yeah, that's definitely true too. There is sort of a, as much as it's nice to have that CBC pride, and much as, it's nice to share that bond with other brothers, you also hold kind of a responsibility because, there people are going to give you some slack. You at the CBC, oh man, you at the CBC, especially guys that went to other Catholic all boys schools. Oh, you at the CBC. But if you just hold yourself as the person that you are taught to be while you're in school, the person that you are, you can learn math, you can learn science, you can learn history anywhere you go, but you learn a lot more. You learn how to act like a real good person when you're at CBC. And it's those lessons that, you're not going to get other schools. You're going to learn how to be not just a proper brother, but a proper man when you're at CBC. And I think that's some of the best lessons that I got while I was in the hallways.
Definitely a standard that's set for you.
Definitely, for sure.
So let's talk about you. I mean, the Tony Patrico that we remember here in high school was, member of the LaSallian youth, was real
hmm
involved with a lot of those type of groups. Probably never would have taken you to be this guy on the point doing all this madcap stuff. Kind of take us through the story. How did it all happen? And obviously once you got there, you were able to take the opportunity and run with it.
Yeah, so it's actually really funny. While I was at CBC, I remember my freshman year homeroom with Colonel Al Shifford. And I remember saying to myself, like, this guy knows how to do it. This guy gets it. This guy knows what's up. I want to be the next this guy. I want to be an English teacher. That's my goal. That's what I want to do. Nobody's going to stop me. And then I got to college and I was like, whoa, this is a lot of math. Like, this is a ton of math. And I was like, I need to find out how I can use my talents in a way that I'm not going to just put myself behind the eight ball. And I remember sitting down with a guidance counselor, and I remember saying, he said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I kind of wanted to be an English teacher, and I kind of wanted to always help and teach kids. And he goes, I'm not asking you what you think that you'll be good at. I'm asking you, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I always wanted to be on the radio. And he goes, well, why don't we do that? I'm like, okay, well, let's give it a shot. So I switched my entire focus my sophomore year, and I said, let's do this. Let's get into the mass communications program. I actually dual majored in mass communications with radio, TV broadcast, and print journalism because I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do because I really enjoyed doing the sports writing. And I worked for the SIUE newspaper for a long time. But I found out that radio was something I really, really enjoyed. Like, I was having fun. When I was getting projects in college, my buddies that were in political science and all this and biomedical engineering, they're getting projects and it's stressing them out for weeks. I'm getting huge projects and I'm loving every second of it. So I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is what I have to do. So then I get my internship as a promotions guy. I'm the guy behind a table handing out stickers and t-shirts. And I'm thinking, this is what I just went to college to do, to hand out a t-shirt and give you a sample of this energy drink? This is crazy. But then I get my opportunity. I get one shot. Do you want to be on air? Of course I do. That's exactly what I want to do. Friday night, midnight, you're on air. Nobody's listening to that, but I get my shot. I get my foot in the door. And now I'm determined. I got a taste of it and I'm never looking back. That was 13 years ago, and here we are today.
Well, I mean, that's a great story. And I think, the way you capture it, because again, you weren't coming out of a major college and you really had to kind
Yeah.
of claw and scratch and really so many of the success stories that we hear of with CBC guys are guys that really started from the bottom. Now they're here, as they say,
Yeah.
So, and again, another thing that you've really built a tremendous following is with your live entertainment business, your DJing business, and certainly
hmm
with the pandemic, you know, took a huge hit. Talk us through that. I mean, you certainly reached a real, a real height in the business, and then all of a sudden, all these things got canceled. So, talk us through that.
It's kind of crazy if you think about it. 2 years ago, I am literally DJing in front of almost 500,000 people at the Stanley Cup Championship Parade. I am the guy that's standing there with a microphone telling people to get loud and make noise, and I'm playing tunes. Fast forward 2 years, and I got 3 gigs on the books because nobody's getting married. I mean, it's just that thing. Because when you want to DJ at your wedding, you want the party. Well, you can't have a party right now. even the places like in St. Charles County where you can have small gatherings, that's not what you want. You want to have a big giant group that comes together, that hangs out and parties with you. So it's kind of crazy because I started to kind of toy around a little bit with doing some virtual DJing, and some people enjoy that. It's still not the same. But and another thing that people don't realize is they go, oh, that sucks that you can't DJ and you don't have these parties and you don't, you're not able to get out there and make all this money. I also really enjoy it. Like, it's a lot of fun for me. Again, it's another entertainment venue where I am putting out a product. I'm creating music, even though it's somebody else's. I got to put it together in a playlist, and I got to make sure that people are in a good mood and dancing and having a great time. So not only just financially has it been a lot different, but even the fact that I almost feel like I don't have that creative outlet right now, because instead of going and DJing in front of a bunch of people, I'm sitting at home in front of my computer just waiting, just waiting.
Awesome story. Again, Tony, we know that you're working hard and obviously recovering right now, but, you know, take us through a day at the point. I mean, what kind of craziness do you deal with? I mean, just some of the skits you've been through, I mean, are legendary, but, just, I mean, you guys all love each other, obviously, but there's gotta be a
Yeah.
lot of craziness with all that.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because, you wake up at 2:45 in the morning, and, I get in my car and people say, hey, you've been doing this for, working in morning radio for 10 years now. It's got to be easy. And the first thing I tell them is the only thing that I know is that every day at 2:40, when my alarm gets up, I hate everything like that. I mean, that's the only constant. You don't get used to that. You never will. So you get up, you get it ready to go, you drive into work. Sometimes it's a complete haze. Sometimes I'm driving, I'm like, oh my, the parking lot's right. How did this happen? But you get inside, and the second that we're together, the second that all of us are in that studio at, it's about 5:40 by the time we head from our office into the studio. The second the five of us get in that studio, something clicks, and it turns into, and I almost want to say it's kind of like the theater program. Okay, think about that. When the show doesn't start, you guys are backstage. People are trying to get ready. People are trying to make sure that everything looks good, and they remember their lines and all that stuff. And then when the lights go down and then fire back up on the stage, everybody's ready to roll. That's exactly how it is in morning radio. Everybody knows their roles. Everybody's ready to go. Everybody's ready to bring it. And it's great that I get to do this with four guys that I consider, again, my brothers. And I mention it a lot, how the relationship that we have on the show is very similar to those that you have with guys that you were in homeroom with when you were in high school. And, Riz went to public school, Moon went to public school, King Scott the same. Jeff Burton got a little taste of some of a high school, an all-guy high school here in St. Louis, but he graduated at public school. And I could see that they don't get it. They don't understand. Like, but when I say to them, I feel like I'm back in high school, because all of us come from different backgrounds. All of us come from, different ways that we were raised. But then again, you put us all in one room, and even though there's times where things get a little interesting, we all still, at the end of the day, again, are brothers.
Okay, we're talking with Tony Patrico of The Point. And Tony, one thing I've always appreciated about you is you have a very positive outlook, very positive attitude, despite a lot of things that you may be going through personally. Obviously a lot of the alums might be really down coming through this pandemic and kind of feeling out, what kind of sort of positive message would you give, just as kind of a person in the public eye, to kind of get people a little jazzed up about what's around the corner?
I always tell people, and a lot of people reach out to us. Rob, it's crazy if you really think about it. And if you would see the emails that we get from people on our morning show that ask us for advice about stuff that we have no business answering, like they're like sincere life questions, and what should I do about this scenario and that scenario, and they want our opinion. And I always sit there and I go, why would these people ask us? What makes you want to ask us? And then I realize, like, they ask us because every single morning we go to work with them. Every morning when they get to their desk and they fire up their laptop and they put in their earbuds, we're at work with them. So I always try and tell people that just because we may be some guys that sit behind a microphone, or just because we're a guy that takes the basketball court and plays on the national level, or just because we're the guys that, instead of sitting in a cubicle, we're sitting in the big giant corner office with a great view. we're all still people. We go home every day. We go home to our families, and you just got to find something that really, truly you can hold on to that makes you want to go home to your family, that makes you want to find that connection. For me, this whole process, I could have easily just been absolutely down and out. Kidney cancer, losing the gigs. I went through some personal stuff that just is mind blowing, that anybody can kind of turn the page and move on from it. But I said, listen, I'm going to focus on being the best dad that I can and doing what I can for my kids. I'm going to, every scenario that I live in my life, how does this affect me and my children? And I found that one thing, and it was those kids that motivated me every day to live my life 100%. Because guess what? My 5-year-old and my 4-year-old, they don't understand why daddy's sad. They don't understand why daddy's down and out. So I got to make sure that I show them that even though the world around us is going absolutely crazy, that things can still be normal and things can still be okay. And that's just how I live every day.
That's a great message. And real quick, before we let you go, any message you want to give to your class of '03 graduates? And I'm sure you see a lot of those guys at
Yeah.
gigs and around town. Any sort of message you want to send out to those guys who know you?
There's actually been a couple times where I've run into guys and they're like, man, I've been afraid to reach out to you. Don't ever be afraid, man. Like I talk for a living. I would love to talk to absolutely every single person, not even just that went to my class. Like if you went to CBC and you see me out and about and you want to say hello, please say hello. Come say hi. I would love to talk to you. Trust me, if I can share any stories about former Dean of Students Ray Bahr, I will share every story about former Dean of Students Ray Bahr. I mean, I absolutely love sharing stories about my time inside and outside of CBC. And speaking of class of 2003, and this is just, one thing I'd like to say, I see the CBC today and I see contributions. Fellas, I don't make a gajillion dollars and I can make time to help CBC grow. So that's my challenge to them. I challenge all my classmates to just get involved a little bit, come to an alumni meeting. And everybody says when I go, come to an alumni meeting, they go, man, I don't want somebody yelling at me and asking me to donate money. And Rob, you're in the meetings. How many people do we say donate money? Zero. Just get involved with the school. Come say hey. And again, I would love to chat with anybody that went to CBC. If you want to talk about the new school, the old school, let's chat.
Again, we say time, talent, treasure.
Yep.
If you don't have the treasure, you have time or talent. We definitely could use that here. And again, these young men need that sort of role model, need to know that their brothers are out there doing great. So again, Tony, great to catch up with you. I'm going to go ahead and put you on pause and hold you for a minute. We're going to go ahead and wrap up this Alumni Focus podcast. Tony, we'll catch up with you next time.
Definitely, for sure. Good to see you.